What I want to do now is start styling my content, well, specifically my text. If you notice, my finished product over here on the left obviously has some different styling elements that need to be included. For example, I need to center my title. If you see, this quote over here is actually in italics, so I'm going to want to change that, and there's a couple of other things that I want to do. As a consequence of these things I'm trying to do, we're going to learn about compound CSS selectors. And a compound CSS selector allows you to target certain elements in your page specifically without making big global changes. So, well, let's first discuss a big global change and what I mean by that. Over here, if we see the differences, we have this one quote over here. This is a block quote, and actually the content side of that block quote is a paragraph. And that's the same thing we have over here. Now, notice how this is in italics. So if we wanted to style that quote in italics, we'd say, well, I need to target the paragraph text. So let me go into my style sheet over here, and I do P, and then I guess I'll start with, and let me go back, and I'll do P, and I'll go font, and then it'll be font weight, not weight, it's font style, excuse me, and we'll do italics. Okay, and I'm going to save that, and now let's look at the result. What happens? Well, it was good in the sense that it made the quote, the paragraph quote italics, but it also made my biography italics, and that's not what I actually wanted, because if you notice, my biography is not italics, it's just regular font. So I want to target this specifically, right? So how would I do that? Well, let's first consider where this block quote lives. Now, I'm going to use my web developer plugin, and I'll go display div order under information, and I notice that my quote lives inside of a div container called banner. Now, as you start working, you start to see the real function of these div containers, these division containers, because they actually allow us to target the paragraph text inside of the banner. So I'll show you exactly how to do that. Now, this particular CSS declaration, this is looking for paragraph. Now, if we want to make it specific to the paragraph in the banner, I put that banner and a space and paragraph. Now this, once I refresh it, take a look at biography text. Once I refresh it, all right, biography text is back to normal, and now only the paragraph inside of the banner is in italics. And how does that work? That's because we know that banner is the parent element of the paragraph tag. Therefore, the paragraph tag is a child of banner, and by the fact that they're nested inside of each other in the HTML allows us to specifically target that element in our CSS. Let's look at something else. Let's look at how we target just the biography text over here if we wanted to do that. Of course, we start with the declaration. Actually, it'd probably be more interesting to do it through Dreamweaver. If I actually highlight this text and I choose the new CSS link, we get a dialog box. And you see by default, because we highlighted it, it says it's compound, and it says based on your selection. And look what it's given us. It's given us something a little bit longer than we had before. It's saying container, biography, P. And this all works because it gives you a synopsis of why that is. We know that the paragraph is inside of the biography, and biography is inside of our bigger div container. If we look again at our div order, we know that we put this entire container class, so the container is the parent to it all. Now, this is very specific, but I think some of this is unnecessary. And again, I have to reinforce that less code is always better if you get the same result with something. Now, because biography is an ID, it's a CS. We gave our div an ID. The thing of IDs is they have to be unique on the page. They can only exist once. So, keeping that in mind, biography, we don't need the container because there's only one biography. So what we could actually do is click this less specific and just get biography P, because more specific just ends up having, more code in there that we don't need. And honestly, to be even more specific, we could do HTML body, right? I mean, because we're saying the exact same thing. We're saying that, yeah, paragraph lives inside of a div container called biography. Biography lives inside of a div container called container. Container lives inside a HTML tag called body, and body lives inside of an HTML tag called HTML. Well, all that's true, but we seriously don't need any of that besides biography and P. So as long as we keep it simple, we're all good. And what do we want to do here? Well, actually, I'm not sure we need to do anything to that specifically, this biography. I guess that was more for just to illustrate what I was doing. But that is how you would target specific elements on your page. And I want to do one more, and I know that my H1 up here, once I click that, I have container banner H1. Let's make it less specific. And what I want to do to the banner is make sure it is text align center. So let me apply that, and it's centered. And before I go on, I want to make sure I have my stuff formatted nicely. And alright, so it seems with some compound targeting over here, I'm getting closer to my goal.